I will not understand. Look. Sure. Okay. Is it live? Sign into YouTube. Hey. Yeah. Did it go live yet? Did it say?
Yeah.
Redirecting to YouTube. Is it officially live? It's still saying it's loaded on my side, so I'm still waiting on the word. That's what I'm at. Wait. Redirecting to YouTube. Done. My bad. I'm still trying to see this. Waiting on this YouTube to pop up. Oh, I hate my bad. Peace to the family, y'all. Peace, love, and light. Welcome back. Just give me a second. I'm trying to get this thing situated over here. Stuff the number shown here. Peace, family. Peace, love, and light. Welcome back to another episode of your brother Blue Pill, reporting live and direct. All right, I'm here with a special treat for y'all today. Just got to get my bearings situated. I'm using a new device, so I'm just making sure that everything is cooking curry over here because I can't see. Can't see the chat. All right, let me pull the chat up now. Boom. Here we go. Peace to the chat. Peace to the family. We got a special one for you today. All right. Got a special one for you today. How y'all doing out there? I know it's customary for y'all to do a roll call. I don't want to get in between any tradition, right? So once again, y'all, peace to the family, peace to the chat, peace, love, and light. Yeah, let's see. Peace to the chat. Yes, family. Again, welcome back to another episode. It's your brother Blue. I want to pick up where we left off last. When was I here last? Either Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the last time I did something live over here. It might have been Wednesday, right? But nonetheless, I was speaking on a topic on Wednesday, and I really wanted to dial into it today. You know what I'm saying? I got some reinforcements. I told y'all that there was a specialist on human design who I've personally gone to get a better understanding of my soul contract, if you will, in so many words. You know what I mean? And I wanted to dial in with our good brother's name is Mugen, and I wanted to dial in with him, just get some more insight. You feel me? Because not only does the brother have an amazing perspective in regards to some upcoming events, human design speaks a lot about the year 2027, but our brother also happens to be on the West Coast in Los Angeles right now. So I thought that it would be very befitting, to dialogue and really dial in and tap in with somebody that's feet on the ground. You know what I mean? It could give us that real time perspective of somebody, once again, who got their feet on the ground. So, with no further ado, all right, we put together a special show for you today, all right, to bring this information to you in real time. So, with no further ado, I present to you a good brother, Mugen, also known as Infinite Vibes, all right? Let me bring him to the peace, brother Mugen. You got to take your mute off. Ask to unmute.
Can you guys hear me?
Here you go.
Hey, peace. Praises.
Absolutely can. How you doing, my good brother?
Praises and cheers. I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Man, it's an honor. We have repeatedly spoke about getting you on the program and hopefully doing something regular with you over here. I've really been, again, attempting to dial as best as I could with the audience the importance of human design, right? So I don't know if you want to give them a brief overview real quick, just running through the rudimentary introduction to the modality, explain to them what exactly human design is and why should they even be, why, why, what's the why?
What's the why? All right, let's get it. Let's let's satisfy the minds real quick, you know?
Yeah.
So the why with human design, it's basically a blueprint. It's a conglomerative of everything esoteric. So from ancient studies as far back as the Dogon up to current astrology, it involves numerology, Kabbalah, I Ching, and it basically just combines everything to give together to give you a blueprint that is feasible and tangible, and it's not just all about thought. It's about grounding that energy into your body and utilizing it as a compass and being able to navigate the realm utilizing your most powerful tool, which is your human body.
Your vehicle, your vessel, not enough attention. Well, I can't say not enough attention, doesn't go into this human vehicle and this vessel. We spend a lot of time talking about the spirit, spend a lot of time talking about the soul, but not enough time speaking about how all three integrate, right? So even in the human design modality, they explain that there's a period of time when your physical structure was constructed in your mother's womb, and then there was a period of time when your spirit, right, penetrated that particular, animated that vessel. Can you speak briefly to that, just to give the people some perspective of
Yeah,
how
so
they split the measurements and the observations in this modality?
yeah, absolutely. So 3 months before, you basically came into formation into, into the womb. Your spirit was already inhabiting the body. Sorry, it was inhabiting the vehicle. It was already in the mother's womb. So your spirit basically came into formation first, and this is why we have two profiles in human design. You have the subconscious profile, and then you have the conscious profile. So the subconscious profile is basically that spirit, that version of you that came into fruition. That spirit basically before your vehicle came about and decided to join it. So that's why you have two different profiles, and it's also the two sides of your helix as well.
Right. So look, our phone got two sides, right? Can you turn the landscape? Is that
Uh, you said try to landscape the two sides.
no? Can you
Yeah.
turn your phone, yeah, sideways, landscape?
Oh,
So
landscape my phone. Okay.
yeah,
Hold on. Like that. That good?
yeah, it should calibrate and register.
How's that?
Um, it's great if it recalibrates the actual picture. I don't want you being hard, sideways.
Am I
Yeah,
sideways?
you still sideways. Yeah, the phone it didn't register, it didn't calibrate.
Hold
So
on,
you
hold on.
probably gotta put it
All right, how about now? Did that work? That's weird.
again. Yeah, the way that I'm observing you, you sideways. It didn't register yet. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on,
It
hold on.
didn't register.
Uh, Let me try this. Let me try this now. Okay. Uh, all right. Am I in landscape now?
The no, the phone has not registered into landscape yet. You still sideways. So we just gonna have to deal with it. My
How's
individual.
that?
There you go.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, again, it registered. Turn it upside down. There you go. Excellent.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Yeah, officially, somebody asked, "Is that a hat or his hair?" Look, y'all, I got my do rag on, so I got my fur hat. I thought it was gonna be 20 degrees outside. I didn't know that that was just on Monday. So
We
pardon
just
me,
protecting
but it
that
is.
crown. We're just protecting that crown. That
Yeah,
crown.
and I want to speak about the crown in regards to human design. They speak specifically. There's a large emphasis on the crown and what's called a crystal. Um, can you speak to that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So the crown electromagnetic motor sits just above your head, and it basically is a resonance that pulls in a lot of information from the collective consciousness, or you could even say the super consciousness. So people who have activated crown motors, which is about 30% of the population, right? Um, and then if you take that 30% of the population, and then you got to ask yourself how many of those are like elitists, should probably go down to about like 0.3% of the population would have defined or activated crown motors. So that means if they have access to being able to provide information or direct intellect to people specifically, they can channel and they can send specific energy to people, direct information to people that they want them to know. So the crown basically pulls in the information from the collective consciousness that everybody has access to, even the undefined crowns, right? The difference between the defined crown and the undefined crown. Let me just break it down real quick because I know I'd be getting ahead of myself. So there's two types of motors all over your body. It's going to be activated motors and unactivated motors, undefined or defined. So if it's defined, this basically means that you're basically putting in programming. You're putting out programming, you're putting out information. So with the crown motor, what you're doing is you're basically a direct satellite to the collective consciousness, and you're able to pull down the information from that collective consciousness, and then you're able to shoot it out into the environment around you. So any other electromagnetic being, that can be a human being, it can be an animal, it could be a silicone being. Eventually, as we continue to move forward in the timeline, can be able to pick up on these thoughts and these ideas. And this could then enhance telepathic communication if utilized correctly. And then the undefined crown motors are open and receptive to receiving these thoughts and ideas and these informations. So those with activated crowns pull that information down from the collective consciousness and then shoot it out into the environment around them. And then those with the open crowns pick up those thoughts and ideas, and then they can then utilize them or just think of them and then let the thoughts just float on by.
Right. So like downloaders and receivers.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
me, I have an open crown, so I'm subject to like I'm a daydreamer and I get a lot of downloads. You know what I'm saying? So that's the best way that I could explain it to people. I was attempting to explain some of the parameters of my human design. the other day, and I don't know if I was botching it up, but I was explaining to them, based on my human design, I have very irrational thoughts, right? The things that I get downloaded with, I'm not supposed to be sitting in front of this camera attempting to explain myself to the world, why I think the way that I do, why I see the world the way that I do, why I do the things that I do is very irrational. I get the download, I catch the pass and I run for the touchdown. And then we look at the play afterwards. You feel me?
Yeah.
You want to speak to that at all? How different crowns, open crowns opposed to closed crowns. And you just did give a good explanation as to what that pertains to. I personalized it and just gave people an example of what that means in real time. So like I'll get a download, I'll share it in public, and then people will be like, yo, I was thinking the same thing. Or, it
Those
reminded
people
me
who
of
would those people who were thinking that are the ones who very likely had that activated crown. Because they usually, the ones with the activated crown are like, yo, I just thought of this really cool idea. But it's usually
right,
people with the open crown who are like, yo, I just had this cool idea. I'm about to like act on it. Like they tend to really, make a move on these thoughts and ideas. Whereas like and I had, it's funny because I had this problem a while back where when I was living in a house full of roommates, I would have these thoughts and I would get frustrated when one of my roommates who had an open crown was always picking up on my ideas. And then I didn't want to do them anymore because I was like you're always stealing my ideas and I don't want to do them. I don't want to do them no more. Yeah.
niggas
Yeah.
bite my mouth. So yeah, so not knowing your human design and how you interact and interface with other people's human design can lead to, the what they call the lower level, the lower devils. I've been writing this whole um, thought piece called "The Legend of the Lesser Kings." I'm speaking about New York hip hop and why there's a vacant throne in New York to this day. So the legend of the lesser kings, right? The lower evils, jealousy, hate, and envy. So somebody that may not understand social dynamics, right? About the people that you have in your direct circumference that are actually there. You know, if you understand their science, you can understand how to best work with them. Or you can clash with them if you don't understand their science. You know what I'm saying? And be like, damn, yo, buddy's always in my BI. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like he live in my head, pause, and just taking these ideas and running with them. When, like, take for me, being a projector, I need a manifesting generator to, I can start something, but I'm not the best at finishing it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I get the downloads and get it initiate. I'm an initiator,
Yeah. You guide that.
right?
You're like, yo, like we should probably do this. It'll
Yeah,
probably
I whip
help.
it
It'll
up.
probably benefit people if we do this thing.
I'll galvanize the population to say, yes, this is what we need to be doing. Let's move on it. And then they get to moving, and I get to moving on to something else because now there's somebody else that's supposed to
Yeah. Now
step
you got
in
the next thing coming
and
in.
manage the movement. I'm making myself available for the next download and to see how does that piece fit into the piece that we already initiated. And I can't say this, right? It's a personal testimonial that the more that I got in tune with my strategy and authority for my human design, I have been way more effective, way more effective. You know what I'm saying? And I'll share with the people some of the things that was told and taught to me by yourself and other teachers dealing with this modality. And I don't have nothing bad to say about this modality. And as much as I can bring additional things to people to help them on their quest to know themselves, I don't see that as being nothing but positive. So my strategy and authority as a projector, right, is emphasized that I speak when spoken to, right? That I show up when invited. I just don't invite myself places. I don't invite myself to speak. You know what I'm saying? And um, you know, in in more litigation, they teach you when you go in the courtroom that you answer a question with a question, right? This is the way that they
Right.
teach you to play legal tabletop tennis with,
Because we playing ball at that point. Yeah.
right? Yes. So you don't give up jurisdiction and you're not putting the power in places where it doesn't belong. When I answer the question, I acknowledge them and it's game time. Then they can advance. As long as I answer a question with a question, you know what I'm saying? Then you retain that level of jurisdiction.
Well, that's
So
that's that's really because you understand your mechanics, and then you probably have the awareness that majority of the other people around you are very likely going to be generators, and so it's easier for you as a projector to be like, you know what, I can definitely like throw in some guidance and move the energy around. As soon as I move these currents, somebody in here has got to be a generator, and then you can easily tell who's a manifester by the type of aura that they emit, right? And that's the beauty of this modality, is because once you understand your own design and you're like, okay, I understand where my open centers are, I understand where I'm receiving these downloads, I understand where I'm providing the uploads. So if I go into an environment, I understand exactly what I'm doing. I could just be sitting in the corner and I could be controlling everything that's going on and nobody in there would know. I could just be minding my own business, reading a book, and then, boom, like I'm just like uh, I'm just programming the entire thing. And it could be something as simple as like you could be sitting down, you could be like, you know what? Like I could really use let me think of a scenario. So there's this one time I was eating, right? And I had finished eating. It was one of these locations where you gotta take your plate to to like this little like bowl. You put your plate in the bowl, and they don't really have service. You just gotta go put that thing down. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I was so full. I didn't really want to go get up. So I was just sitting at
yeah,
the table for a little bit. And I was like, man, I wish somebody would come and take this plate from me. And then a friend of mine showed up, and then she started talking to me for about like 5 to 10 minutes, and then she's like, "I'm gonna go order some food. Let me grab that plate for you." And then she took it and she left. And that was an example of like just my crown, and me using that crown motor because I do have an active crown. Just to putting
right.
the thoughts and ideas out there to see who picks it up.
So having an active crime motor is not just being telepathic in terms of picking up on thoughts, but you can transmit as well.
You
So
can
you're not
send
only
the energy out. Yeah.
receiving, you're transmitting, and people are picking up on, let's say, your unspoken intentions, like the whole, you know what I mean? Like you be intentional and you shoot a shot, you shoot a
Yeah.
thought at somebody.
But it also works with all the other motors too. So you got to think about it, right? Because we know the reason why I usually like to start with the mind is because everybody knows how the mind operates. The mind is thinking, it's calculating. We can communicate with the mind, but then it comes down to the lower Dantians, right? How do I communicate with the solar plexus? The solar plexus is energy and motion. It's feeling. So there's people out there who have defined solar plexus and they're putting emotions out into the environment. Somebody will come into a room and do a backflip, and everybody's gonna go, "Wow, oh shit!" The energy just moved. You know what I mean? Like it was random. No, everybody was just chilling, minding their own business, and then here comes somebody who just moved the entire current, and now there's a whole other thing going on just because of that one movement. You know what I mean? And so there's solar plexus authorities. Then and how do you communicate with the solar plexus? You have to trick your mind into communicating with it so you can learn the communication language. So with the solar plexus it's all about feeling. So really this really depends on your aura type, and I do want to definitely break that down as well, right? Because there's um there's four main aura types. There's the generator, there's the projector, there's the manifester, and there's the reflector, and each
Right.
aura type has a different feel to it. So the generator has an enveloping aura. Like it feels huge, warm, it's embracing, it can encompass an entire room. And then you got the projector aura, which is direct. The projector aura is just like, it's like I don't have that much energy to waste. I'm going straight to the point. I'm gonna penetrate everything, and you're gonna feel it. That's the projector aura, and it's a very attractive aura. So when somebody walks into the room and you don't know why, you're like, I don't know what it is about this person, but they're just so attractive. That's a projector. Like they usually that's how they lure people in, so that way people can ask them for guidance. But it can also be a double-edged sword because then they attract energy vampires. So you gotta also protect your aura as well. Because remember, this is just a blueprint. So you gotta use other spiritual modalities as well,
Right.
to maneuver.
Like, take
And
me for
then
again.
and then yeah.
I use
And
myself as an example. Not only am I a projector in my cardology, I'm a six of clubs, so I'm a psychic card. You know what I mean? So I have strong magnetism in terms of the people that may be attracted to pull up and come through. But then my psychic card, you know what I'm saying? I'm reading things that are not necessarily volunteered. That's why I'm the blue pill, right? So I got red as the extrovert. I put him out front, and I'm like, yeah. He like the sticky fly trap. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch his engagements and interactions, and I'm gonna be in the cut. I'm the blue pill. They don't get to see that I'm really the red pill until they pass. You know what I'm saying? Red. So yeah, that's again utilizing additional modalities of your personal character to navigate. Yeah. Why did your camera go back to
oh, sorry.
sideways?
Somebody
Took yourself
tried
up.
to somebody just tried to
It's all good.
how do I
How- However you did.
did it flip back? Nah.
Not yet. Yeah.
Nah. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, bro, I really wanted to give
There
people
we
the
go.
information and they express some interest in human design.
Um but yeah, I do um I do wanna just kind of give people just a little glimpse of all the aura types too, right? Because
Yeah,
you
yes.
got the manifestor aura, who is like kind of has a repelling aura. So when you meet people in the environment and they initially seem a bit standoffish, it's kind of like hard to penetrate their aura. Those
Yeah.
those are usually the manifestors. But with manifestors, you need to gain their trust. They need to trust you before they even let you in. But once they let you in, it's a beautiful world out there with a manifester, but if they don't trust you, you're not gonna get nothing out of them, and then you got the reflectors, and the reflectors, I love reflectors, and they got it the toughest because they just absorbing all of this. They're just like, oh my god, I'm like, they're just taking it all in. It's like everything is beautiful. I feel the cloth, I feel the light, I feel, they're just like taking everything in, and it can be
Super
overwhelming to them
sentient.
sometimes,
Yeah.
so
Super
um
sentient.
sorry, say that one more time.
They're super sentient. They feel it
Yeah,
all. Right.
yeah, they feel it all.
Almost like
Yeah. And so those are like the main four aura types. So and I like people, and I challenge people to play with this, right? Like when you go out there after watching this video, like challenge yourself and be like, huh, okay, how many generators did I come across today? That person I'm speaking to, are they reflect? If you got a meeting, if your boss is like, you're trying to impress your boss, what's their aura type? Like, how can I get through to this guy? Is he a manifester? You know what I mean? Like, how can I utilize these auras? Because this is what human design is for. It's just to give you the basic blueprint, because this is just, in a sense, just the first step of going quantum. This is just like charging up, first knowing what it is. Then you gotta, like, there's other steps, modalities where you charge up your aura, because this is where like the breath work and the yoga comes into place. And this is what majority of the spiritual community tends to go into, is they go into their diet, they go into and human design talks about this too. They talk about the digestion, the environment, and all that fun stuff. Um, but a lot of the spiritual community tends to go into these things where they're charging up their aura types, and they're failing to fully understand what their aura is. So they charge up, and then they're you know dealing with a lot of these things where they're sending solar plexus energy out into the environment, and they're making people feel things. People come around them and they feel overwhelmed. They can't stay in their aura too long because their solar plexus is super charged up, and so people have to leave that environment, and then they'll say, oh well, that person is just not on my frequency or my level. You know, like there's just like that essence of hierarchy that tends to come into play. You know what I mean? And
You're feeling
so
that.
yeah, so it really goes deep. It really goes deep when you really look at the full
Yeah.
spectrum of it.
Like I said, me again, utilizing my own personal self, my own personal narrative. I started tightening up 2022 when I took more care and consideration for my human design and really just started applying it. Specifically, the not spoken, don't speak until you invited to speak part, because I was getting frustrated. Um, I come in a conversation and offer my 2 cents, and it wouldn't be appreciated in the same way. And I'd be like, nigga, I know I just dropped something. Then you hear somebody else come and repeat the same shit, and it'd be like, nigga, didn't I just say that? But you wasn't. So it's not received in that manner. And I could not understand that level of frustration due to the non-penetration of thoughts and ideas and words that I know would penetrate, and because somebody gonna come right behind me, say the same shit and get a response. Whereas, what I'm saying, I was not necessarily getting that same response. So I had to pay more respect to my human design. I had to look for my manifesting generators as initiators for my thoughts, ideas, and plans. Just to find out that my lady was one of those, my Wiz. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
beautiful.
And yeah, just that whole play of, once you got the information, looking at your own personal circle and seeing how, once you pull the curtain back, you're like, oh, this person is okay. Yeah, and my whole dynamic, I got everything that I need. Now let me start putting the plays in motion properly to
Puzzle
coincide
pieces.
with
Yeah.
people's personality types specifically, so we can get things done.
Yeah,
Um,
because you can't go do something where when you need, like, you might need a manifester for something, but you're bringing a generator along and then nothing's happening, and you're like, why aren't we getting this? You know, why is this project not moving forward? And it's like, the whole time you really just needed this specific type of aura type, or you may just needed a projector to be like, hey, you know what? How about we just move the piece right here? It's just and everybody's like, oh. It's like you're building a structure, and it's like, hey, how about we put the roof on top? Like it's not done. Everybody's just chilling, but we should probably put the roof on top. And everybody's like, oh right. But it's crazy because you would think, wow, this is obvious, but and especially for you as a projector, right? And I'm pretty sure you get this a lot. You're like, well, this is so obvious. Why aren't people just doing it? And then you just come along, and then people are like,
yeah.
you know what? Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm just gonna start doing it now. Yeah.
How can people go about finding what their personality types are? You know what I'm saying? How can they get more informed and acclimated with the science of human design?
So there's several websites that are out there. You can look it up on Google. Um, I personally use Genetic Matrix. I like that one specifically because it encompasses the rave being. And that's 2027 talk. The rave being are these children that are going to be coming into this realm, and they're going to be a bit more. Uh, so human design, we're focusing on 9 centers. I know in the regular chakra systems there's 7. The rave beings are kind of like beings with 12 chakra centers.
Right. So, but let me preface that we
Yeah.
currently kick around the notion of 7 chakras, which is old information that pertains to an old timeline of evolutionary spiritual status for people.
Right.
Um, the majority of the planet has boxed up to or bumped up to about 9 active chakra centers, and there'll be an incoming iteration of evolutionary beings that's supposed to be hitting this planet around 2027, and
Yeah.
those beings will have 12 operating chakra centers.
Yeah.
Right?
I wanna say
What are some
yeah.
characteristics?
Yeah, I want to say 12. There's a lot of people in the human design community. Like I've been debating a lot of these guys because they're so there's not a lot of melanin. So there's a lot of like it has to be by the book. This is what, is being said, but just for a lack of a better word, these beings are going to come in, and these are going to be the type of beings that are actually going to be in your mind, like, hey, I'm telling you to do this, or they're picking things up without really touching it. You might even see them
Right.
levitate, like
So,
these other
yeah,
human abilities that are a
yeah,
bit,
let's talk about
different.
that. Right.
Yeah.
There's certain characteristic of these children of these individuals that you might identify. They'll be designated as on the spectrum, right?
Right.
With who have identified as autistic. These children are going to be on the spectrum. These children will be able to communicate with you telepathically in your mind. These children will be able to move things with their mind. I'm seeing a lot of that on
Yeah.
Instagram right now with generations of children who might be 18, like between the ages of like 18 and 22.
Yeah,
These children are
what we're
practically
seeing with those
studying.
kids, those are like those are like the nine centers. That's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah. But with with the new ones coming in, like you're gonna see it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like, wait, were you just in my mind? It's gonna be like, no, you were just talking to me, like you just did that. And that's what's going to be so different about it. And 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 2027 is really when we go from the process of planning, which is what we're in right now as a collective. We're in the final phases of the process of planning, which is why we've had all this technological development.
yeah, yeah. Just explain those terms to them.
Yeah, so
Cross planning.
if you go into your human design chart, you're gonna see that you have an incarnation cross. Everybody has an incarnation cross. And the incarnation cross is basically what your vessel, like your vehicle, is designed to do. And it's not to say that this is what you must do, but it's just like, hey, if you utilize it in this way, it'll probably, be a lot more beneficial for you. For example, I have the cross of four ways. So for example, I have the cross of four ways. Um, and so I have this like ability to see like various realities and timelines and just be like, yo, we can hop into this, that, and the third. And then I have the generating energy and the capacity to be able to try and error and martyr. And sorry, try and error is a three line, and then be the heretic problem solve for each of these timelines. So everybody has an incarnation cross, but then the collective has an incarnation cross, and we go through these periods for probably 80 to 100 years, and then we switch over to the next incarnation cross. It's kind of like how everybody's like, oh, we're in the age of Pisces and we're going into Aquarius. This is kind of that for human design. It's like, okay, we're going from the cross of planning, which is we got infrastructure, roads, technology. We have all this stuff. We have government. We have everything there to help us in the line. And then we're gonna go into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is the phoenix rises from the ashes. So, you got to really kind of get that painted picture of what that's going to look like. We're not going to be in that cross of planning anymore. It's literally going to be us rising from the ashes. So everything that this period right now, this planning, this period of tribing up, finding your tribe, getting with your people, utilizing the technology to the best of your capabilities. I would recommend a lot of the information that we find on the internet. We actually write it down in grimoires or scripts and stuff like that, just in case anything does happen to the grid for whatever reason, even if it's just temporary. So that way we have access to some of this information. Because with the cross of the sleeping phoenix, again, a burning down, that can look like anything. And I don't want to specifically say that it's going to look like something exactly, but you just have to imagine what that sounds like. The
Well, I mean,
Phoenix,
yeah, we just witnessed it. You know where you're
right,
at, Los Angeles.
right. Yeah,
people's entire historic, whatever they have saved up, the amounts of their history can be gone in the blink of an eye, literally a day. People's whole historic records were wiped out, and the only thing left is memory. What I'm saying? And the clothes on their back, and that's subject to anyone's interpretation at this point, right?
absolutely. That
If
that
they
is an
have found
example of
that,
the cross of sleeping phoenix.
that's an example of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. That just that quick, right? Everything is reduced to rubble and to ashes. And then what do you have left? You only have your memory. But what if you're not experiencing dementia and Alzheimer's? You know what I'm saying? And you can get your whole historical record could be scrubbed from your mind, from the tangible physical reality. You know what I'm saying? So what are our backup options? You know what I'm saying? The cloud can be interrupted and interfered by AI. You know what I'm saying? So what other option do we have as a people? I mean, there's civilizations that have left historical records that are being found 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years later.
Which is
And
amazing.
yeah, they talk about these people like they was antiquated, but I'd be damned if they didn't have record keeping techniques that have survived the test of time that are being unearthed to this day. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Yeah.
Whereas our stuff is getting wiped out, and we're allegedly technically advanced, so we can't agree on no truths.
Right. Because everything's in these crystallized devices. This, by the way, is ancient Atlantean technology, which I love, by the way. And a lot of us fail to realize it that Atlantis and Lemuria are like in a very interesting way, like merging and creating this beautiful toroidal field that is kind of like birthing this phoenix in a sense, right? And
So for the East Coasters that don't know none of that language, right? They're very rudimentary. These are the people that go to elections still and vote for candidates and stuff like that. So we're talking to a different type of individual.
right.
What kind of proof do we have verifiable to say that these kind of children are coming? Now, again, let me just rewind to my own personal uh, account. 2012, I kind of came across this information. Shout out to my brother Brian. We had him on KTL. He did an epic presentation called Death Defying. He got shot about 11 times, died and came back.
Powerful.
And, he picked this modality up and he hasn't looked back since. So he put me onto the Cross of the Phoenix. So since 2012, I've been aware of it and I've been cognizant of it and I've been looking for the signs. You know what I'm saying? I've been looking for things to change, and I'll be damned if things are not gradually moving and changing to set up scenarios for exactly what he told me so many years ago. You know what I'm saying? Um, Even looking at children in my own family, and they're not as talkative. The communication is different. You know what I'm saying? They're very telepathic. Um, I always know what they're thinking. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily hear the voices in my head per se, but I just know what they be thinking. And they just have a different way to communicate. It's not like we did before. It's different. And I'm looking at a lot of other children, and just my timeline, just these brilliant children, these star seeds.
And
Um,
I gotta give props to you and your brother because y'all got this immortality gene on lock. You know, like y'all are really doing it because there's a lot of the older generation, they have a hard time even, grasping any of this. And the simple fact that y'all like really just you're able to even like hear them and see what's going on. Like that's very inspirational and that feels good in my being to know that there's people like you guys out there because we need the elders too, we need the elders and the younger generation, they need the elders especially, because
Ain't
y'all got the
nobody
codes.
elder, bro. No.
Nah, we need the immortals. That's what we need. We need the
I
immortal. That's
I
what it
refuse. Ain't nobody help us, bro.
is.
I know what you're talking about. And yeah,
Nah, I
we,
see you in the gym, man.
yeah,
Like
I had
inspiring,
to.
man. Nah,
Yeah, yeah. My human design. I had to redesign my human vessel because you know, there was a lot in society that was telling me that, yeah, you finna be an elder. You know what I'm saying? And crossing over the threshold of the age
but
of
that's the
50.
mind.
No,
Again, that's
I
just the
know.
mind.
I was picking up on the marketing that was being advertised to people that my age that they want to line up for AARP, and I just wasn't going. I'm like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Yeah, you gotta resist it. You gotta resist
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And because
So
that's how they get you, because this
right,
world, they need the souls to continue to like recycle. They don't want it to leave. And a lot of people are failing to realize it's like, okay, well, if our cells are regenerating every 7 years, then that means the vehicle is technically immortal. Like it has the ability to last for a very long time. Because even in
yo,
these ancient scriptures, a lot of these old folks, I know I don't want to go too deep into like biblical aspects, but just the simple fact that some of the in the past, a lot of these folks used to live like 500 to 600 years at a time. It's very possible, you know, but we also got to look at the conditioning, the atmosphere, the different things like that. But our bodies have the ability to adapt as well, even with our new silicone based friends, you know, with all this
yeah.
emergence of technology.
I just put a post up earlier, and I said, if you don't got $2 million like Brian Johnson, you know, because he's the tech billionaire who's attempting to prolong his life, and his, you know, the hashtag is um, live forever or never die or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And there's a and I used to study the billionaire dudes that was biohacking back when I was researching Quincy Jones in 2009. I came across Ray Kurzweil in the transhumanists, and a bunch of these dudes, Peter Thiel and them, back in the early 2000s, they were speaking about living to just they was talking about that time to living to 150. That was the goal, to live to 150. Then I seen Transcendence, and I was like, oh, so they want to moralize themselves by being non-physical, you know, uploading the mind to the computer. But they were actually speaking about holding on to the husk. And it was just said last year that if you live into the next 5 years, you'll be able to prolong your life for the next 500.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's you know, and
so
I
yeah,
know there is a lot of sorry, go
let
ahead.
me just, I just want to finish on this last part. So I was like, if you don't got 2 million annually to afford, you know, the therapy or the program of a Brian Johnson, I put a article up that said exercising takes 8 years off of your life. You
I
feel
saw that
me?
post.
And yeah, you know, I'm like, all right, well, how much exercising? Like, can you turn 8 into 10? Can you turn 10 into 20? Like, how much are we speaking about? So in January of 2022, 2 years ago around this time, I was in Miami. Shout out to my brother Human. Um, Shout out, and I was just about to meet Jamal. Shout out to Jamal because it wasn't. I just met Jamal in February 2022 when we went to Arizona. But right before Arizona, I was charging up in Miami. I spent a month out on the beach. I was outside in the sun. I was working out, you know, and outdoors. I was in the water. Uh, I was doing mushrooms and jumping in the water at 11 p.m. At pitch dark, overcoming my fears, unknown. You know what I'm saying? All of that. It was 20 degrees outside. I was overcoming my fear of the cold. I was doing a lot.
Oh, beautiful.
And at that time, I had got a download about, I wasn't calling it Super Sapiens then. We were into crypto real tough. So I was devising a plan to make an NFT out of the body, non-fungible temples. And I was telling people, I said, well, if AI was created to become smarter utilizing humans, why don't humans utilize AI to become better humans in terms of our longevity? So I'm like, what if I ask my chat, what would it take me biologically to exist for another 80, 90, 100 years? It's not impossible. And why not push the parameters of technology? If we're gonna be here, if we're gonna do it, let's make it interesting.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I was tripping this shit back then about a concept that later on we would be able to, the phraseology that we assigned to it was super sapiens. And I think that you was on that clubhouse that we did a few years as well, when we laid that concept out to the people. And it
sorry.
was like, look, we can utilize technology to become better humans, and technology is utilizing humans to become better technology.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I think there's a lot of
So yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of headspace. It's a lot of leverage in that particular demonstration. And I'm optimistic. I'm confident. And I'm willing to be the flag bearer for the, let's stick around to 2030, and then we could be here until 40, 44 if need be. Yeah, I'm all the way
yeah,
for it.
why
You know what I'm
not?
saying?
Why not?
Technology,
And that's a breath of fresh air
yeah,
because there's so much trauma bonding with technology. Like everybody's trauma bonded with it. They're like, oh, the Terminator, oh, like it's gonna kill us all. And I'm just like, why is this where the mind is going to? Like, I think it's cool that I'm walking down the street and there's a car driving itself down the road. And I'm like, that's what's
way
up.
more.
You
Yo,
know? There was
crazy when I think that. I was like, I, I know I ain't just pull up on the whip and ain't got nobody in it. And this joint is,
It's just
yeah,
driving itself. There was the other day. There was a robot. There was a robot box. There's these little robot boxes that roll around delivering food in LA. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. We got little robot dogs now. Running errands. Okay, bet. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay. So everybody's just like, no, this is terrible. And they're gonna take all our jobs. I'm like, the jobs that you guys don't really want to do, like, so you can start getting creative and creating because human beings are here to create and expand instead of having to, you know, and I know like it's easier said than done. It's gonna be a slow, transition, you know what I mean? But I really think that now this time period, like this is probably the epitome period. Like right now, if you can look at what's going on, figure out, come up with a patent, make sure that your ideas are solidified and utilize technology and create something epic for the future of
yeah,
humanity, then you're set. Because
yeah, yeah.
just being in fear of it is not it. Because the smart cities are coming. They already got direct energy weapons. We've already seen it. You know what I mean? Like they they have
We ain't
all this
speaking on,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, they
we
have
ain't
all
speaking
this.
not on
I mean,
YouTube.
sorry.
We gotta let them get that. But I
Oh,
said we ain't
gotcha,
gonna speak on that on YouTube.
gotcha.
But
Yeah.
you, coincidentally enough, you've had experiences now in two of the zones that have come under the scrutiny, and the watchful eye of what some people might consider to be conspiracies. But I'll be damned if they're not giving a lot of credibility to people's fears, if you will, because they're looking ghoulish on TV. I mean, the stuff that I'm hearing them say, and just the sinister grins and laughs. This is not. I'm not seeing the compassion that I expected to see, and it
Yeah.
seems like it's very much connected with what we saw in Maui. So you were in Hawaii. I don't know if
I
you was
was I
there
was
during
I was in
the time.
Hawaii. I wasn't in Maui when it happened.
Right, but
I
you was
had just
around.
left Maui actually. Probably like a few weeks later it hit, and then California hit, and that was bad. There's a location that I used to frequent in Palisades. I used to go up there for men's circles, and my brethren's property, tribal markers. They had to evacuate. That place burned down. I had a couple other people who lost a lot of their properties. Topanga was able to be salvaged. They were able to save Topanga. Um, Malibu, all most of Malibu is done. It's just done. We've been sending a lot of supplies to various locations. There's various companies. I mean, the cool thing is what I'm really seeing, and this is a beautiful thing about human beings, is that no matter what the tragedy, I know we have the ability to overcome when we come together. Like that is the beauty of humanity, is that we are able to push through any obstacles and adversity, no matter what the circumstances is, and we can bond together, and we work a lot faster than the government. The community works a lot faster and a lot better than the government in times of chaos. And I just wish that it would be similar outside of times of
Yeah,
chaos.
right. Yeah, that's similar to the repetitive narrative that I'm hearing that people are so proud that the community has banded together and a lot of things are getting done at an expedited rate because you know what I'm saying? People are
Yeah,
hanging up any pretensions. They just like, yeah, I'm here to work. What's good? Who needs help? Let's get it.
yeah.
And things are getting done. Nobody waiting on nobody. You know what I'm saying? And they're scaling with that process of community
Yeah.
cooperation and
And
yeah. So
that's part of the cross of the phoenix. You know, again, it's like and I'm seeing, and this is interesting because again, we're at the end of the cross of planning, we're stepping into it, and I'm already seeing signs of what this is going to be looking like, you know, moving into the future. You know what I mean? And again, we're moving out of a time of, we for a very long time it's kind of been manifestors really like pulling a lot of the strings, where it's just like manifest, initiate, we got to bring new things, we got to bring new things, we got to bring new things. And the cross of the phoenix is more like the projector zone. It's more like, all right, we have all this stuff now, let's figure out how what we're gonna do with it before we keep creating more stuff, because we have so much things right now. Now we have entirely new beings that, you can order, like you could order 5 to 10 robots and they could work on your entire farm, you know,
in fact,
labor for absolutely nothing. They won't get tired, you know what I mean? And
right, this
so
is this is already here. You
yeah,
know
it's
what I'm
already here.
saying? It's already here.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so yeah, because people always want evidentiary proof of the things that are being said, regardless of, if we got a 30-year track record of saying, look, I might be telling you something that you don't have proof for yet. It might be 2 or 3 years down the road. And I would think that I got enough credit at this point
you
that people
do.
will still believe it. But I don't. They still need to
Nah,
see
nah,
receipts. And
you got enough,
when it
man. You
comes to
got
me, shit, I could have went into politics if that was the case. But the politicians, they get a pass, but we got to keep coming with receipts
I feel it.
every single time to gain the trust of the people, and that's cool. I would ask the family to say, "Can you explain COVID babies to me?" You can't. You know what I'm saying? And what is that? The babies that was born post C-19 is different. My nephew was one of them, right? This is a precursor to what's coming in 2027. They said that there was a new generation that would be born this year. They call them Generation Beta.
Mm. My son is a
They're playing
COVID baby.
games. Yeah, they're playing games with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
These C-19 babies is off the hook. They're different. Hey, y'all can't explain that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Uh, and
I,
nor should
I,
you have to. I think the beauty of it is watching it unfold. Watching these children do what they do. And being in awe of their wonders and their gifts. You know what I'm saying? This renews our leash for humanity and humanizes us. Look, let me share something real quick if you got a moment. I hope I ain't jumping all over the place.
nah, you good, you good.
But the fires happened, I believe it was last Tuesday. Um, and I woke up Wednesday and I started blogging. You know what I'm saying? And, I was throwing my shoulder out, hitting on all of the points. Yeah, I said this was gonna happen. I said that was gonna happen, and this means that, and it was too much. You know, in hindsight, when I went back and looked at it, it was too much too soon. You know, and I was talking about Babylon burning and everything, and then I saw a post from Keys. Now I was speaking to Keys Tuesday, right? He was in the crib. It was probably 11 a.m. in LA because he had just came outside the crib and he saw the smoke for the first time. He's like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" Now I had saw something on my phone, but I ain't, you know what I mean? I didn't want to inundate him. I said, go, you need to go and, you know, do your own research because I don't know how far you are from Topanga or whatever, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That may potentially be an area. And we hung up and I didn't speak to him. And when I saw him again, I saw him on the internet and he looked distressed. Right. So I felt bad because I'm like, damn, I didn't follow up with him. I didn't call AA. It was like 15 people that I know I didn't personally reach out to that are friends and family and loved ones that live in the LA area. And I was in a rush to be right. Right. So I had to go and take the post down and recalibrate with myself about the human factor of all of this. And because I got a psychic card, I got a prophet card, the prophets are the least loved in their country or in their city or their town. So sometimes the prophets got a grudge. Sometimes the prophets got a chip on their shoulder. Sometimes the prophet got something to prove because the prophet been called crazy. The prophet been spat at. The prophet been all of the things that you shouldn't do with a prophet, our people have done with the prophets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the prophet is here to chant down principalities. And the prophet knows that there'll be human collateral because we got proximity to principalities too much in this country, right? It's like, goddamn it, if it's evil, don't go nowhere near it, let alone you want to build something right next to it or get underneath it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just wanted to say that I was reminded of the human element. Oh, and Jamal as well. Jamal had said something in a text, and it hit me in my heart, and it was like, damn, maybe I'm not being careful enough with these moments. You know what I'm saying? Because he spoke about the personal tragedy that he knew about. He spoke about friends and families who were in peril, and again, it reminded me of the job that I didn't do before I ran to the internet to be deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I felt I didn't feel right in that regard. So I pulled a post down. I made all of the communications that I needed to make with the people that I needed to circle a wagon with, you know what I mean? And then they started giving me some of their heartfelt testimony and sharing things that they may be going through. And it was just like, yeah, it brought me back to service. So rather than me attempting to prove a point, you know, I got on my platform, started utilizing my page to get information out about aid and assistance. I deep dived into Altadena. I did more research into the neighborhood. I dusted off my Octavia Butler books. You know what I'm saying? I just did a lot of things that because I loved when I lived out west, right?
Yeah.
I went hiking and where did I go hiking at? Griffith Park. And I used to catch them hikes like right before the sun come up.
Mm.
This is where the observatory is at.
Okay.
And I said,
okay.
bro,
Oh yeah.
I was with my whiz at the time. And I was like, yo, I want to die out here. Like, this is where I want to ascend from here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I had one of those
top of the world.
like, yo, this is where I want to leave from.
Yeah.
To live
Hop
in
on the chariot.
LA. I was in awe of the beauty so much that I wanted to transition. I didn't want to transition then. I was just saying, yo, when I transition, I want to leave from here. Like, this is where I want to make my exit. It was that beautiful. I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but
And I
was
totally
going through
get it.
that moment. And then I used to hike in the Pasadena.
I can know. Thank you. Yeah. I'm about to just move locations.
I used to hike in the Pasadena. Okay. And they'd be like, yo, you gotta watch out for mountain lions. I was like, yeah, I love it. This is nature for real. Like, where can you go outside of the city and they tell you watch out for mountain lions? I'm like, yeah, I'm where I need to be.
I mean, no, that
I have a unprecedented love for the West Coast and the way that ancient, antiquated, million-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Nature is right next to modernized city.
yeah. Now
That's
that's the
crazy.
beauty about this place, and you know the history of Califia, California, right? We gotta talk about the fact that before they built the Hoover Dam, that this place used to be its own island, you know, and it was inhabited by the Amazonian woman, you know, and eventually, you know, they ended up losing, you know, like losing grasp of that. But Califia, she holds a lot of that feminine current, that feminine energy, and you can feel it in the land around her. It's just luscious. Even with everything that has happened, there's still so much abundance and prosperity, you know, around, you know, and you can feel it in the people. And that's sort of like more of that Lumerian type of energy, you know, that energy that comes from, you know, the within the people, right? And yeah, it can
So
be.
yeah, like that. Let me say, like,
Yeah,
because I remember the feelings. Like LA always looked like a mirage to me. So even when I was on the mountain, I'm looking and saying, I'm like, damn, why nobody explain it to me like this? LA
because
exists
it's
in
a
the Dust
desert.
Bowl and it's surrounded by mountains, right? It's a desert that exists in the Dust Bowl and it's surrounded by mountains. And it looked like a mirage, like how you in the desert and something you look at it and you think that it's there, but it's not, and
But
it's a
then
mirage.
it can
That's how
appear.
and it appears and it's very real. It's on top of you. Not only is it real, it's 4D real. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you get into the city and you feel the realness of it based on the emotions of the people that are tethered to that environment, that wear the pain of, you know, of their time there. You know what I'm saying? You see it weighing on the people. Um, it's a beautiful struggle
100%.
because the environment is still so rewarding. You know what I'm saying? Um,
But I guess of sun.
yeah, yeah,
Basking raw real quick.
and that yeah, that sun, you know, that the angular motion of that sun just solves all things. Um, in those national forests, you know, like you said, there's been a lot of things that have succumbed to the fires, but you know, they still got them Sequoia National Forest, they still got them redwoods, there's still so much nature that's explored that really needs to be put in the spotlight right now, so we can really make a full assessment of the things that we may be losing track of.
100%. And you know, I also do want to say this. I did have like a moment of, you know, I told you so. Like there was that headspace I had too, where I was just like, yeah, all this finna burn down. Like you know, like we raised we you know we in the tunnels of set right now type of energy, right? But I also had to like hold it back the moment that I was experiencing the grief that you know people were seeing, and it was very fascinating because it felt like you know how like when something just happens and then like something just like explodes out of nowhere and then there's like a bunch of dust that piles everywhere and then people just sort of like come out of the rubble and they're all like dusty and they're
Yeah.
just kind of patting themselves off, and then you
Mhm.
have like the men who are like, okay, like I'm staying behind, women and children get out of here, because there were people who were doing that. I know a couple of people, like the three of my friends were the last to evacuate at the location they were at, and there were some people who actually went down with their homes, because they didn't want to leave. They were like, "Yo, I worked my whole life for this." You know, they're like, you know what? I'm done with Earth at this point. You know, like I'm just gonna go to the next realm because You know, this is what I work for, and this is, I don't, you know, I don't want to continue to play the game no more. And it's like,
Absolutely.
you know, just the simple fact that, you know, I don't know, it's very interesting to experience and to see firsthand like um the different realities that people chose to, you know, to step into. Because, you know, depending on your resonance, right, you know, you're going to be experiencing specific timelines. Like there's people experiencing hell right now, there's people experiencing heaven, even in spite of what just happened, you know. And I will say this, I want to say this. I want to say congratulations to those of you who lost everything. I want to say congratulations on the newfound freedom that you are now about to experience, that you're now about to embrace, the ability to rebuild and the courage that you have to do that. I do want to congratulate everybody who is taking those steps. I want to congratulate those who stayed behind, who made sure people were getting goods, who were helping the animals out, the wildlife out there, and everything in regards to that. And, you know, whatever agenda is at play, you know, and this is where I do want to say this is leading up to this. The whole essence of smart cities, the new social media is going to be smart cities. The new social media is going to be smart cities. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to be at a point where it's like, if you want to get social, you want to basically connect with other people, the hubs that you're going to want to go to are going to be these smart cities. You're going to want to go to these places because it's going to be these locations where like you're walking and you're seeing these like, you know, this like almost like what it, like, you know, that thing like Tony Stark has when like his Jarvis like shows up, what do you call that thing, like it appears in front of him?
Hologram.
Yeah, like the holograms would just like show up. It'll be like, you know, hey, this you're walking by a store and like a hologram shows up. It's like, hey, this is what we have on our menu. You're just walking by it. You know what I mean? Like the cars are gonna be self-driving, the robots are gonna be walking around. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be a hub where people can get together and really, you know, interact and get creative. And, you know, it's really gonna be like a whole different you know, algorithm in a sense, right? And so it's like a cyberpunk type of future that we're headed towards in a weird way. And, you know, it's pretty exciting. I'm very optimistic about it. I can understand why a lot of people are alarmed by this, you know what I mean? But I think, again, if you are somebody who sees what's going on and you're able to go ahead and, you know, take the step and get ahead of it and be like, you know what, you know, I want to be able to add to this in my own unique way, my own unique way, with my own unique design. Also, if you know your design, you know your strategy and authority, you know when something is outside of you, you know what's not from you, you know what is coming from you, then you're going to be able to circumnavigate this in a whole other way, as opposed to going into it from a fear-based mindset. You're stepping into it from a quantum space. And these mechanics are going to recognize it too. These silicon-based beings are also going to recognize it as well. You know what
Yeah,
I
can
mean?
you speak to that? Because you mentioned it a few times. And I want to zone in on specifically, what do you mean when you say silicone-based beings?
I'm basically talking about robots. Just gonna, you know,
Okay,
just
right. Androidal, cyborg.
yeah. And it could be half, you know, because you got some people like they've lost an arm, but they, you know, they're utilizing, you know, stem cells regeneration to like grow back their arms, or they have like mechanical arms or mechanical limbs. You know, that's kind of like a cyborg in a sense, right? Like they got a mechanical eye. Like these things are, you know,
Borderline. Yeah,
yeah.
borderline. Entry level cyborg. Um, you know, because other people have been referring to, off-planet entities or inter-planet entities. They also are saying that those are silicon-based, the extraterrestrials, if you will.
I
So
mean,
I just wanted to know if that specifically is what you meant, but I see that you know, more so mean like the cyborgs, humanoids,
well,
androids, things of that
the
nature.
extraterrestrials for
I mean,
sure. The dragons, the fairies, as the planet elevates in resonance, right? And the only way for this to happen, right, is if the humans also increase in resonance. Like as our frequency raises and we're no longer operating from the third dimensional, we're now in the fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional headspace. Because I'll say this, just as somebody who works with dragons, and I've done this for a very long time. I know I've spoken to you about this. Jamal knows about this, like several other people. A lot of my clients know about this, but like when I say I actually see them, like I'm not speaking like, oh, like it's not there. It's like literally sometimes I really see them like landing and doing stuff or flying around. And as the collective, right? And this is why human design is important, because one of the most important things about human design is the circuits, individual circuits, tribal circuits, and collective circuits. As the individual circuit raises its frequency, it will affect the tribal circuit, which will then increase its frequency. And when the tribal circuit increases the frequency, then the collective will also raise the frequency. And when the collective raises the frequency, and you have a bunch of electromagnetic beings on a specific resonance, the planet is also going to be raised up. So we're going to be literally leaving a specific plane, a specific dimension of reality, and we're going to start seeing things that, initially might seem a bit like, you might talk to someone and be like, yo, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? That does not exist. You know what I mean? But people are going to start seeing things. And this is why these aliens or these declassified information is now becoming apparent to us. Like they're now being able to be like, okay, you know what? There's a specific resonance now. They're able to handle it. We're going to dish it out. Those who can receive it will receive it. Those who won't will obviously ignore this information. But those who are on that resonance, they're going to start. And I just want to say that out there because, I don't want you to think you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other people out there who are seeing these things. You're not alone. Okay. And they are out there. And as you continue to raise your resonance, you're going to experience more of these things. Now, each of these
look,
beings
yeah,
that you come into contact with, like, they're like human beings. They're not all good and they're not all bad. Like they got their own agenda. So if they're coming up to you, it don't mean that, it's trying to destroy you. It don't mean that it's all good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta use your discernment and utilizing your mechanics, following your strategy and authority. That'll definitely help you in dealing with handling whatever other species is out there. Because if you don't know yourself, and then you about it, they gonna take advantage if you like. Look, like who are you? Why are you speaking to me? You don't even know who you are. Oh yeah, I'm about to take this human being for a ride. Hop in the spaceship. We gone. You don't even know what just happened. You know. No.
I went on a tear during the end of last year, and it was around the time of the you know of the drone sightings, and I'm like, where are the experts in our community at? You know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to nobody. I'm just like, nigga, like we can't be at this point in history and y'all don't know how to differentiate between what's what. An orb is not a drone, and a drone is not an orb, right? Now orbs have different designations. We call them baby shams, we call them light ships. You know what I'm saying? Some people call them merkabas, right? But then there are other entities and designations that are specific to that. That's a whole different demonstration when you see it. So I'm like, where's the niggas that can talk to the craft? Where's the niggas that have communications with these entities? Why are people in our community third account subject matter experts? Like, where's the people that have the contact? Where's the people that can call the entities? Where's the people that can communicate? Where's the people that are getting the messages and download? Because niggas ain't want to hear when I came with my information in 2010 and I got the information from them. And them entities told me, look, you niggas is butt cheeks, right? And until
Yeah.
you grow some nuts, you won't get off this planet. And you are backing the entire galaxy up with this colonizer issue that you have not solved yet. They're fucking the galaxy up, and we're looking at you like bozos because you created this problem. And if we come down and fix it, we're gonna clean all of y'all up because you can't separate the wheat from the chaff. So if we set it off, we gotta set it on all of y'all, and none of y'all get safe passage to the next round because you pussy. And the fact that you have not busted grape in the fruit fight yet, we see all of it. Everything. It's like the magic. This is what I kept telling people, niggas to this day, and they yet to pop off. They pop off for one another. But I say the magic is in the militia. You know what I'm saying? And then being said that you won't know who got your back until you are willing to get active. So you already got to be in motion to find out what you got covered. Meaning you got to move with faith and not in fear.
Absolutely.
Because the community has thrown the baby out with the bathwater. You can't say faith. You can't say belief, right? And then be like, oh, we're not Christians. Yes, you are. You're underneath that. At least the niggas have something that they can stand on this mythological. You out here just waiting in the water, just blowing in the wind. You have no foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're very fearful. And you don't believe in your powers. And you have no connection with your ancestors. You can't tell me that you're a spiritual community, but you can't tell me the name of the spirits.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. And I do have a story to share with you, actually. I actually came into contact.
I'm listening.
Actually came into contact with one of these orbs a long time ago. I didn't like, now that I'm older, I kind of understand, but there's this one time I was visiting my mom in Maryland. One of my mothers. My father is, African. So I was visiting one of my moms in Maryland, and there's this playground next to my house. So I was just like, I need a break from the house. So I sat down over there, and I was just like laying down in the grass, stargazing, and I was looking at the star, and I kind of like pixelated, when you like just kind of like pixelated and you kind of zoom into like a specific object in the star and in the sky. And I saw this thing, and it kind of like looked like it was getting closer. It was getting closer, it was getting closer. So then I sat up, and then I was like, am I tripping? I didn't smoke no weed. I wasn't drunk. I didn't do anything, And I was just like, am I high? Am I like, what's going on? And then it kept getting closer, and then it came like right in front of me. And it was like hovering, like moving like this, and it made a humming sound. And I was just like looking at it, and I was like, all right, like, if you're gonna kill me, that's cool. I think this is a cool way to go. I don't know where you are. Like, I hope you're friendly. I don't know what's going on, And then it just stayed there, and then it hovered like that, like in one direction, like fast as hell. And then it came back from the other side, like from this direction in front of me, hovered a little bit, and then shot back into the vacuum. And then it turned into like a shining star, like bloop, gone. And I didn't know. I didn't even know what to think about it. I didn't know what it was. It was just and then I didn't really tell anybody because I didn't really know until a lot of people started seeing these orbs, and I was like, okay, I think that's what it was. And then now that I'm doing a bit more research, I think what these orbs are is a combination of sound body and light bodies with some sort of consciousness involved in it because of the ability to be able to move. And really, when we're going into consciousness, the talk of consciousness, we're gonna have to talk about the connection to spirit and spirituality correlating to breath. So there has to be some sort of hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon molecule within that spectrum, but it has to be in a way that it allows it to not be heavily too dense to the point where it takes up a complete form, and it has the ability to move in the way that it moves. And so I think these orbs are that. That's this is just my assumption from my observation and from the research that I've done. And
I say
yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, my experience with them, they're very playful.
Say that one time.
Very playful. They're
Very
very
playful.
playful. They're almost
Because
childlike. And
childlike. It's childlike because it's like, and that's the thing, is like people would be thinking that in the third dimensional way of being is you gotta work hard and get paid for it. But in the new way of it, it's like, how can you play and get paid for it? Playing and getting paid for playing, getting paid for having fun and moving forward is going to be the new way. Like, this is fun. We could do this all day. Like, what's something that you can do all day that you wouldn't mind? You could do it all day, all the time. You wouldn't never get bored of just doing that and have fun with it. And the moment it's not fun, it becomes work and move on to something new. That means it's probably time to start learning a new skill or something. Challenge yourself a little bit, become good at something, and move on to the next thing. You know, so and that's
let
just
me say,
root. That's just root motor
right,
stuff.
these are light orbs, family. I'm not speaking about metal or metallic. Anything with a blinking light is not an entity. That's the that's the military industrial complex, rolling out the latest iteration of space babble that they have, right? I'm talking about light luminescence. Anything metallic, I don't have no bearings on. Shout out to my brother Jamal. He spoke about Mount Shasta. Now, I'm 9 retreats deep in Mount Shasta. There's really been no retreat that we went on that we did not see the entities or the beings or the ships or the whatever. And on 2 trips to Mount Shasta, we saw the mothership, meaning we was driving underneath a craft for at least 40 minutes. So the jury is out. Like, there's no convincing that you have to do. There's no arguing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? I will get them people who is with us on the phone, and you can argue with them. You don't drive underneath something for 40 minutes. This is how big it was. We were speaking about the mothership. Like, the shit was like Battlestar Galactica. Okay, it just went on forever, and you see it like a city in the sky because all of this transport was taking place. They was coming and going. It was just like a whole civilization up there. And luminescence, like the lights of luminescence, they're like 3D almost. They're not like just one light. It's like a light with a light behind it refracting over the light. It's you gotta I gotta find the words. You know
It's
what I'm
like
saying? But
it's
it's a
like
sight to
light.
behold.
It's like you could touch
Luminescence.
it
Yeah,
and then it wouldn't even like.
yeah, like it's ain't nothing that the
It's
U.S.
like a bubble
government
that wouldn't
did.
pop. You know what I mean?
We're talking about the bootleg. We're talking about the real one, the real thing. And anybody that been up in Mount Shasta, that they up there. You know what I'm saying? We literally saw an event with them in 4 different quadrants of space, like north, east, west, and south. In every quadrant, it was at least 100 ships, and they must have been having a Star Wars because they was just firing off. This was from 1:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. We
Like
observed it. It was the night before the 88 Lion Gate portal, and this was in 20. It might have been 2021 or 22. It might have been one of them trips, but it was precedent to this. It's profound. It's like when you see it, you'll never unsee it, and can't nobody tell you anything about what you seen and what you didn't see. Goddamn it! And I'm like, if you think that was Project Bluebeam, then we all just need to pack it up. You need to find a cave or something. Get you 30 years of food. Just dug it out because it's a wrap for you. You just have no hope. They come in, they got your number, and you yeah, you just resistance is futile. But
yeah,
if you've seen what I've seen, and if you had the interactions that I've had, then you know that there's something so much more mightier out there than the U.S. military. You know that there's something
hundred
that's so much
percent.
more profound than humanity, and not to take a dump on humanity because I'm having a human experience, but there are profound beings out there. There's so much more underneath the eye with these eyes to pick up 3% of electron. We don't know ish, and we swear that we're so knowledgeable. AI is about to spank us for being so full of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And you know, don't let this incoming administration spank you because you sitting around thinking that you live in a post-racial world.
And I'll definitely say this too.
Yeah,
Definitely get
in the midst of
definitely get some sun gazing in, so that way at nighttime, when you look up at the sky, you can see some of the stuff that Brother Blue is talking about, and some of the
acclimate,
stuff that I just talked about too.
yeah, acclimate your eyes. You know what I'm saying? And I want to shout out to you for saying that. You know, in Atlanta, it got to like it's like 30 degrees
Yeah, it's
some
cold. It's
mornings.
cold out there. Yeah.
So I work out in the brick. I work out 5, 6, 7 in the morning, so I don't have the support necessarily of the sun. But yesterday, I was being super enforced by the universe to say, you still got a ground. I don't care what the temperature is.
Right.
Like your electromagnetics, yeah, you got to recharge this vessel. Like it's not enough just to work out. If you're not grounding, if you're not sun gazing, you ain't doing it. Because I just been getting into deep, deep diaphragmatic breathing, and it's a psychedelic onto itself. Because breathing get me into an altered state. You feel me?
Yeah.
Transcendental altered state.
Get
Like
that DMT. Get that DMT into your mind. Yeah.
yeah, they like the fullness of it. Going ground. I don't care if it's 30 degrees. Give yourself 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if I could do 5 minutes, I could do 10. Now I'm not gonna sunbathe, but I'm a sun gaze. So the sunbathing is being outside butt ass. I'm not gonna do that in 20 or 30-degree weather, but I'm gonna put my feet in the ground. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta get these bars because I be writing bars for everything these days. So this is the bars I had wrote yesterday when I had grounded. It said even when it's frigid and the temp is in single digits, you still gotta go outside and get it. Plug into the earth, supercharge the turf. Be the first to eat the manna from heaven that falls down to earth. Eating through the soles of your feet. Soul food that flows through, knowing that you're molding a beast. An athletic build with a magnetic field expanding the heavens. Stand like 11s. One
Bars.
expanding the heaven. You go to the center of the earth. You got to replenish your inner worth. I feed in general of rare earth minerals and circulate the low from my perennial up my genitals, up my center pole to the top of my crown, back down to the ground. And yeah, it's winter cold, but the soul switch gender roles. It goes from hot as stoves to cold as winter knows. A spirit of fire. Once my breath gets inspired, yeah, the limbs are cold, but I'm whimsical. I gotta live in this body. It ain't rent to own. My name on a lease. I bang on a beast, winning Rome. I'm standing. I'm home. Yeah, so it's 10 toes on the concrete. I eat through the soles of my feet. Beyond me, that protein we receive from the sun. If you the one who can bask in the sun with no screen, blowing a Buddha skunk, smoke screens, big dog, not the neutered ones. Yeah, so
Man,
that
you
was
just gave
my
them like the best. You just gave them the best bars of their life, man.
yeah, man. And that's the beauty of what's accessible through an open crown family. You know, when I charge my vessel up, the best way I can explain it is like when we ring a bell. You know what I'm saying? When you ring a bell, that's the best analogy that I can give, even to the universe. The universe is always the bell is always being rung, and those of us with these antennas, with these open crystals, you know, we're receiving the latency of the universe and we are condensing, breaking it down, and coalescing it into light. You know what I'm saying? We refract light and we take in light, we eat light as well.
Yeah.
And we can convert that light into food, into data. And in terms of my bars, you know, that's kind of what they are to me. It's
You
condensed
giving them
light,
that
you know what I'm
you
saying,
giving
that I
them that
refract.
fascia talk right there. That's that fascia.
Yeah.
That internal
Yeah, so
fascia.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
that fire should be charged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And the crystal be open, the blood be pumping, and then when I get that electromagnetism from the soles of my feet, and I get to eat the manna from heaven,
exactly,
you know, the vessel is fully charged.
exactly. I mean,
I'm
that's
fully resonance. I'm fully
yeah,
resonating. And yeah, being the best version of myself for myself.
yeah.
So I just
That's,
like advocating, you know, on the behalf of other individuals that may be looking and listening. You know, for myself, I'm just saying that this is the best thing that I have found in my journey of my quest to know myself. You know what I'm saying? These are the modalities that I use. These are the practices that I've implemented. Yeah, I got other things that I need to work on. Yeah, I got a little bit more to go. You feel me? But I'm a work in progress, like all of us are. And I'm just sharing that process and that progress with the
I mean,
world and the
we
whole
all just
and
we
do for
just
self.
still learning and evolving. We just learning and evolving as we go along, you know, like, and sharing is caring. Um, I definitely say this, open root motors, definitely, definitely say grounding is extremely important, but those with open root motors, they're not necessarily consistently looking for the process of evolution. Like they're more designed to flow through life. You know what I mean? Like whereas people with defined root motors are always looking for like that next challenge and that next obstacle. And so they might be more prone to, you know, wanting to uh pulling some of that fascia, no, not that fascia, what's the word for it? The mycelium from underneath the ground into their root motor so they can like fully charge up. I mean, you can still play with the mushrooms without necessarily digesting them because the mycelium is all over the planet, you know. So if you do have time to walk barefooted, you can definitely still connect with the mycelium network at any time, even just touching a tree, you know, or a plant that's actually rooted into the soil, into the earth. I wouldn't necessarily say a house plant, even though house plants they are alive, but you know they don't necessarily have that full core connection to the mycelium overall.
Find you a tree. Find you a well-rooted tree, and the roots of that tree are linked to the mycelium network or the mycelium match, which spans this entire planet. But specifically, you know, the East Coast. Like if you were in Atlanta, forget about it because there's fern trees out here. The place where you find ferns at and things like that nature. Those are indicators of the mycelium network being strong. Where you at? You know what I'm saying? All along the Pacific coast, that whole corridor leading up to Oregon, that's ground zero for this energy and this information. And the mycelium works like the mighty sheath in your brain that you know is shooting the synapses, the information by way of neurons from one dendrite to the next. Dendrites look like trees for a reason. It's the same thing. So let's learn to utilize the technology around us. If nothing else, you know, the beginning of this year has showed us the parallels between modernity and this whole technosphere that they're pushing hard and the biosphere. The technosphere versus the biosphere to produce the new sphere is where we're at. Shout out to Jose Arguelles, Time in the Technosphere. That's one of the main books that we always recommend.
How do you feel
But
about that?
yeah, you
Like,
know,
what is your general feeling about that? Like the
I mean,
combination of
I'm not willing to exchange nature. I'm not conceding nature for anything. You know what I'm saying? We have to find a way. Like my approach to this entire situation would be rebuild the hempcrete, right? Bring yourself in tune with the fourth industrial age. The fourth industrial age mandates that we use building material that we can also put like chips in because all homes have to be smart homes. It's not, oh, they're getting the drop on a smart city and it's a negative thing. It's like, no, how did you let them get the drop on the smart city? We're supposed to be have built or had our own plans for how to build out a smart city. Building out a smart city is going to give us the advantage to help close these particular gaps that we have.
Exactly.
We have to resonate with everything that's centered around smart without it being an acronym for, the military acronym. I'm just saying smart for the sake of being smart. The integration of your biofield with technology, which is already happening involuntarily. So why not control it and make sense of it? Like I want my house to tell me, yo, your mood ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Don't go
Yeah.
outside with that shitty mood. You might balance yourself. You might want to meditate. You might want to drink some chai tea before. I need that. I need all of the markers in place to help me be the best version of myself so I
I
can
love that.
maximize
I love that.
the period or this plane of existence. I will put microchips in the walls of the hempcrete, and my entire house will be smart without it being intrusive technology, right? No need and necessity for too much radiation ELF devices, extremely low frequency. That's not necessary. We can build smarter. We can
100%.
build smarter, and the hempcrete is fine. The
100%.
hempcrete breathes is fine, and it has zero to negative carbon imprints. And now we're talking about carbon credits, which is a whole nother earning modality, right? Then we
Yeah.
got the plug on the lithium batteries. And I know people might feel way because they're seeing things take place with them, but this will allow you to live off grid, right? I had showed them a contraption that we had the other day called a bio cleaner. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, dog. Talk to the people. I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating.
So we just don't be shooting the shit, right? This looks low tech, rightfully so, right? But this will clean upwards to 200 gallons of water, and I'm talking about remove chemicals, right? The same thing that water treatment plants do. This does, but it does more because it will remove chemicals. It will remove solids. It will even dissolve bone. That's the thorough level of job they would do, up to 200 gallons, right? And then we have
And it's the
larger
simplest thing.
the simplest things. We have large contraptions. I'll send you the video with this contraption. They had a pig farm. The pig farm had 17 foot of solids. You know what that is, right? Dude,
That's
you feel
fascinating. I
me?
I was actually because I've done
Within,
work with work with the aircrete, just because you're speaking of the hempcrete, and I've been wanting to play with hemp for a while. I just completed a build down in San Diego, just utilizing some aircrete, and it's amazing how soft that material is, but how stable it is. Where it's just like this can literally withstand fires, earthquakes. Like it's amazing. It's amazing how the simplest and all literally all it is water and soap and a little bit of cement. And then just to
right,
add on to what you were talking about, I'm sure you've heard of scalar tech, and that's what we've been using in Hawaii to grow our foods has been scalar technology. And what we found is that when we grid specific locations, right? When we grid specific fruits and vegetables, not only do they grow larger, do they produce more hydrogen in regards to the foods that come out, the hydrogen that comes out, it's a lot juicier, healthier, sweeter, and it tastes so much better. And then there's less radiation overall. So it don't matter if they're spraying anything in the atmosphere. Whereas when we did the same experiment without the scalar tech and we grew the same stuff, it was smaller, it wasn't as good. There was less hydrogen in it, and it was just not. It was just not. It was just not the same. It was just not the same, texture. And so and it's really simple technology. A simple copper rod, like what you just showed was amazing. I 20 gallons
At
for just that. That's amazing.
200 gallons.
Sorry, say that one
200
time.
gallons. 200.
200 gallons. 200 gallons.
200 gallons.
That's
You
amazing.
feel me? So if anybody got people in Mississippi in that area that has the water issue because of the water treatment or the failure of the water treatments plant and system, us, we got solutions. You know what I'm saying? Anybody got a 200-gallon aquarium that they want to clean? You got a waterway, or you got a septic tank, because 70% of the country operate on septic. You know what I'm saying? Cities don't comprise the majority of this country. Rural areas do. So if you really want to live off grid, with this contraption and the goddamn lithium battery plugs that we got, like, yeah, at this point, you can literally live off grid and be non-dependent on the municipalities. So this is going to be a grand opportunity to rebuild in the right way, to use, the right rebuilding materials, to use the right
It's
level
the cross of the sleeping
of
phoenix.
zoning, right? Not building right on top of it. Yeah, don't build on top of the water. Don't build on top of the trees. Like, find yourself somewhere that makes sense moving forward, so we can stop being so out of pocket with nature, but then complaining when nature does what comes natural, which is cleanse itself.
Right.
But yeah, I got an event coming up here in about 15, 20 minutes, so I got to cut it short soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you out on the town. I want you to tell them one more again, real quick. Where can they find verified human design information? Because there's a lot of things that's probably on the internet, but where would you recommend that they go and look?
Well, you guys could I'm gonna send you a link actually. I think I already sent it. Let me yeah, grab this for you real quick. I think I sent it to you here, but you guys could definitely come to me personally if you're interested in, just learning more about your mechanics, your design. It would be an honor for me to, just walk you guys through the process.
Yes, drop that link in the chat, please.
Look, what is going on? Phone is acting up.
Hold up, no.
Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the information. So I have a ebook actually that I wrote about ba- there we go. All right. So
You
I
on
wrote
mute?
I wrote an ebook. It's basic breakdown of human design basics. You guys can go ahead and purchase that. I would recommend that to be a very good place to start. It is also on Amazon. You can also get it on Kindle if you like listening to audiobooks. It's all there. But I sent the link in the chat. And yeah, it basically breaks everything down, the five aura types, the different types of profile types, just everything basic that you would need to get started on your journey. I even have the link to the website where you can generate your own chart. And then
Right.
if you are interested in working with me, go ahead and just sign up for a consultation. I prefer doing monthly consultations just because it's a lot to unpack. And literally, it takes 7 years to decondition and then 7 years to recondition. And so it's a lifelong journey. And I'm not one of those gurus that want people to like stay with them forever. Like I prefer to like give people like the as much as possible, have them go on their way, come back, hit me up every once in a while and be like, hey, this is what's happening right now with my mechanics, or what's going on with the transits. I also have a mailing list. You can sign up for that as well. I provide the daily transits, the updates. in regards to what's going on for the collective as well. So, you guys can find all that information in that link below. And you can also follow me on Instagram at underscore infinite vibes with a Z. So that's underscore infinite vibes with a Z. And yeah, and then overall, I will recommend this. I will say follow your own strategy and authority, do your own research, go with what resonates with you, even if that's not me, because at the end of the day, this is all about empowering you and allowing you to step into that quantum lifestyle because life is more fun when you're quantum. Believe me, you don't want to you don't want to stay in this third dimensional reality for too long. It's not that exciting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, I want to thank you for joining us for this broadcast. It's been very informational. Hopefully, we were able to give the people what they were looking for in regards to some cutting edge information to help them in a personal navigation. It's 2025, the top of the calendar. Hopefully, people will utilize this information again to get to learn something more intimate about yourself. This whole quest is about, man, know thyself. And anytime that we come across modalities that help in that process, you feel me, of getting us closer to knowing who we are, so we can be better servants to ourselves, to our purpose, to our mission, our design, and our people, you know what I mean? Then that's redeeming the dream. And that's the whole theme of this strong and to redeem the dream. I'm in the old 4-4 district of Atlanta. They be beating up on King. And you know what I'm saying? I have never taken that approach. So we standing tall, keeping that flag waving and alive. I don't, I'm not a civil rights advocate, but I benefited from it just like everybody else has. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to throw that man away because I don't agree with him necessarily. You feel me? I think that his sacrifice was a beautiful one. And I think that, the note that he went out on fighting for working people, the proletariat class, the labor force, the working poor here in America, the people of Altadena. Altadena was founded because of civil rights, goddammit. So, yeah, we be shitting on the things that birth the things that we in. It don't make no sense, bro.
It don't make no sense. Wake it up.
Make no sense. So yeah,
Hey,
man.
I appreciate the good vibes and the good convo. Praises and cheers to your most highness.
Absolutely.
It's always a pleasure, God. I'm excited to
Always.
see I'm excited to see what adventures unfold next for the both of us.
Yeah. When you come to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta get you in our spot. We could do a whole human design course here and break
I would
down.
love that. Yeah.
So hopefully, by springtime, people will be ready. They want to jump in their design, get their strategy and authority together. We could even do human design dating games.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Oh, I was gonna say you definitely want to get your design for your spouse and for your children. It'll definitely help. Your human design for your relationships, your ladies are gonna love that. And
Yeah.
ladies, you're gonna know what to do with your men with that.
Yeah.
And especially the
Better
children.
than
Especially the
the
children. Them children with the design with the children, yeah, it really helps. It really helps because them kids, if you don't know their design, it makes it pretty difficult. So understanding that design helps you, maneuver according to how they're supposed to operate, not how society is telling you that these kids are supposed to operate. Because every child has their own unique design. So I just want to put that out there. It's very crucial. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? And I found better compatibility with my Wiz when I found out what her design was and how it works, how I'm supposed to work it, how I'm not supposed to go, you know what I'm saying? So all of that, all of that information that helps assist you in having a smoother life, trust me, you want that, you know what I'm saying, at the price that it comes for is well worth, what it's gonna cost versus not having it. And I'm only speaking about cost in terms of your time, right? To do the research into intimately incorporate the information. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To make it a part of your life and your lifestyle. That's the cost that you pay, right? The discipline is the cost that you pay, right? To be mindful of the things that you need to be mindful. That's the price that you pay.
Right.
So again, I want to say thank you for taking time out on this Friday to enlighten us, you know what I'm saying, with the light. Appreciate you.
It was an honor. It was an honor. Thank you, God. Peace.
Say that again. You broke up, brother.
I said, thank you, God. Peace.
Okay. I got you, my brother. All right. One more again. Leave them with your contacts where they can find you at. And then
Yeah,
we'll sign off.
it's underscore infinite vibes on on Instagram, on all social media platforms. You can find me on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, YouTube underscore infinite vibes. You can email me at the infinite vibes at gmail.com. The Z at the end, always the infinite vibes at gmail.com. And yeah, I dropped a link in the chat, so you guys can also look up my services as well, and you'll find me over there.
Okay. All right.
Ty,
Yes. And with that, my brother, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you.
praises and cheers.
Indeed. Peace, God.